STL 908873.
Yes. You going up through Nether or?
I'm going to go up to. I'm going up to the end place.
Newark is a cracking little town slap bang on the old Roman mega highway that ran up the spine of Britain, just where the road crosses the Trent. It was a garrison and staging post for legions heading north and south to beat up us Brits. After the Romans, it was pretty much owned by the bishops, who were more than prepared to lay down the lives of their serfs to keep it that way. The castle was built in the 1200s by, wait for it, Alexander the Magnificent, Bishop of Lincoln, a rather camp, sublimely flamboyant character with the most ostentatious proclivities. He was also the local hardnut who imported French mercenaries to enforce his rule. During the English Civil War, Newark declared for the king, and it was magnificently defended, which really pissed Cromwell off. He spent a stupid amount of time and effort trying to take it over because it controlled access to the north. The burghers of Newark knew which side their bread was buttered and stuck it out for the king. Sadly, when the royalists got the kicking they deserved from Cromwell and the new model army, the king told them to throw in the towel, and the Roundheads demolished the town defences and reduced the castle to more or less what you see now, a single wall facade. Later on, when the Industrial Revolution spread across the UK, Newark turned its attention to precision engineering and made all the springs, nuts, bolts, firing pins, valves and twiddly bits that they used in the traction engines and tanks built down the river in the heavy engineering works at Lincoln and Gainsborough. Everything at the time was moved by river. This river dock must have been alive with activity. Now it's a deeply peaceful place. The old Market Square is one of the best in England, a perfect 360 degrees of well-maintained buildings that stretch back through the past. Newark obviously cares about itself and the way it looks. It's a great little town. Then it's out of Newark, past the deep water car park full of immobile lozenges which seldom move due to the high price of fuel. And up the Trent, which just gets more and more beautiful as it thrusts inland. And finally, the river goes quiet enough for an occasional sail. Now, there's about 5 miles of river, and I'm told that there's just one wire. My plan is to sail until I find quiet and then stop for the night. Some great looking gypsy horses here. A bloke at the lock said that Newark is a gypsy town. Although I confess that I still had to put up with the sewing machine clatter of the Tahatsu for a few more miles for the journey upstream. Eventually the lights started to fade, and I found a sublime spot to spend the evening on the hook in the middle of the river. A perfect slice of English countryside. I drank wine as the landscape settled down for the night. The next morning I pushed on upstream towards the lock and weir at Hazelford. And for the first time, the river started to show signs of the developments upstream and the job it has to do, taking away runoff and effluent from Nottingham, Stoke, the Potteries and massive chunks of the Midlands. Well, that's pretty ugly. It's amazing how quickly it tidies it up, but ignore it. I think I've learned how to deal with rivers now, and it is that you basically grit your teeth and motor up them. Take aspirins if necessary, and then once you find a nice spot, go on a little bit beyond it and turn around and sail down it. Because although you can't guarantee the wind's with you, you can guarantee that the tide is with you, the current is with you. So even if you've got not much wind, you are at least drifting. This has been good, apart from this here, just at this weir. First time I've gone off the river. It dissipates pretty quickly once it's passed. There's nothing above the weir, and this foam which has been generated by the weir disappears pretty quickly. It smells a bit sulphurous, not too bad. Doesn't smell of actual human manure. Lots of wind up in those trees, not so much down here. There we go. The 75-mile drift back down was marvellous. It was a chance to hear the countryside and enjoy the zephyrs on the river, and using the wind or just the occasional stroke of a paddle to keep my little yacht in the best of the stream.
Oh, trees, there we go. I do like looking down a river and just seeing the zephyrs of wind. Just travelling along at the speed of a swan.
In the non-tidal freshwater stretches, the English countryside looked and sounded superb.
Perfect.
I was keeping a rough tally and I reckon I heard 32 species of bird on the way back down. I also love the way a view reveals itself as the river straightens out around a bend.
It is amazing how quickly the wind just goes or changes direction. However, the river just keeps flowing, so generally it'll push you on to the next patch of wind. A trawler from 1958, Scotland. Yeah. It's a very pretty boat. Found the best place to tie this, to tie the main sheet, is just up to the A-frame, which I'm amazed is, the A-frame is the anarchist shape, more or less. A for anarchy. How about that, lads? Oh! the sunshine is gone and the pylons have appeared. However, this is the lovely breeze. The rig's great. I would put a pennant up, but I've learned that you lose pennants in trees. And there's a good chance of going to the trees. Typical, the boat started sailing beautifully and I've just got to take down the sails to get, and the mast to get through Newark. So I'll put this on the tripod just to show you how the mast drops.
The engine was run for less than 40 minutes during the whole 75 miles of the return journey. That's the way to travel. On the saltwater side of the loch, we really started to move with the ebb, which got stronger and faster as we got closer to Trent Falls.